Hey guys, what's the one thing that you're going to miss or you think you're going to miss the most when you go vegan? What is it? Burgers? No, you can get that anywhere. Go down to Burger King. They've got you covered with the impossible. It's pizza. Pizza is a really hard thing to find sometimes when you're vegan, but I've got you covered here, so stay tuned. We're going to make the best vegan pizza you've ever seen. Okay, so we're back. So now the thing we're going to make first is the dough. And if you've ever used yeast before, and even if you haven't, do not be afraid. This is an easy recipe that anybody can do. So I know a lot of people get very intimidated by making a yeast bread. So the first thing we're going to start with is hot water. And we're going to use about a cup. Okay. So we want it to be really hot. Let me just make sure. But we don't want it to be too hot that we're going to kill the yeast, okay? So it needs to be about 100, 105. And now we're going to put in about a teaspoon of sugar because we want to feed the yeast. The yeast needs something to make it bloom. So what we're going to do, once you get good at this, you could actually just use a bowl and do it all in one bowl, and you don't have to bloom your yeast separately. But I just want to show you what it looks like when you do. So we're just going to take our hot water with our sugar, and we're going to sprinkle in our yeast. Okay? Give that a little stir. Great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set this aside for about 5 minutes, and we're going to let that bloom. And then I'm going to show you what it looks like so you know what you're looking for when we're making our pizza dough. Okay, so look, our yeast has bloomed, and that's exactly what we want. I let it go a little more than 5 minutes, but that's exactly so we know our yeast is good. If it hasn't bloomed, that means your yeast is old, your water was too hot, and you're just going to have to start all over because it's just not going to make a light and fluffy dough. Okay, and that's it. That's all you have to worry about. So we're going to start. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some all-purpose flour into our bowl. And literally that was the hardest part of this recipe, guys. So we're going to start. I usually start with a cup. I'm going to give this a stir. Now you can make this recipe oil-free if you want. I literally put 1 tablespoon of oil in a whole pizza recipe, so I just leave it in. It does just make it a little bit of a softer dough. So I'm just going to literally put between a teaspoon and a tablespoon of oil. And again, it just adds a little nice salt. Because again, the dough is just flour, so it's not going to have any flavor. You could also add, we're just mixing this. That's all we're doing. You could add herbs to this at this point. You could add garlic salt, onion salt, oregano, anything you want if you want to make a flavored dough. And now we're just going to slowly add flour until we get a nice soft dough to this. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to start kneading it. So that's still pretty wet. So you're usually going to start with about a cup of flour, and you're going to add at least another cup of flour. So I'm just rolling it around, pushing it down. We're just trying to incorporate that flour, and you're just moving it around, pushing it down. Again, you're just incorporating all that flour. So you're just scooping the flour that's on the bottom, and you're just incorporating it. That's all we're doing. Push it down so that it's absorbing it. You're working in all that loose flour. And it's still going to be a little bit sticky. And the more you make this, the more you'll love it. And this is, so especially if you have kids, we used to do this growing up. My kids, Friday nights used to be pizza night. And they used to make their own individual pizzas. They loved it. We've had all of our own toppings. That way there was no fighting. Everybody got what they wanted. It was fun. Everybody looked forward to Friday. It was always pizza night. And that's it. So you can see our dough is lovely, super easy. Now I am just going to add just a tiny little bit of 1 drop or 2 at the bottom. Just a tiny little bit just to spread it around. Okay, you're going to take your dough, you're going to twist it around the bottom, then you're going to turn it upside down so that the oil part is sitting up. We're going to cover it with a tea towel. And now you're going to put it aside so that it can double. You want to put it somewhere warm. So somewhere away from a window, just so there's no draft. So as long as it's not cold, a lot of people just put it on their stove or anywhere where there's no draft. And you want to wait for it to double. Once it doubles, we're going to put our pizza together and we're going to make a delicious pizza together. So you decide on what your favorite toppings are. And don't forget, guys, you need to subscribe. You got to hit that subscribe button. You got to give this a thumbs up. And don't forget, leave me a comment. What are your favorite pizza toppings? Okay, so our dough is almost finished rising. So now we need to make our pizza sauce. You don't need to go buy a pizza sauce. I'm going to show you how to make a simple pizza sauce with a can of tomato paste. I'm just using Kirkland, of course. We're going to just mix it. Just take the whole can. Whatever you don't use, you can freeze it and just use it. Or you can use it on just little mini pizzas for the kids, using English muffins, whatever. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some hot water. I'm just going to slowly mix this. And we just want to thin out the tomato paste. Okay. Yep, we're going to need a little more water. There we go. All right. So just mix it up. Easy peasy. Now we're going to add our spices to this. So we're going to add some granulated garlic. Don't like garlic, leave it out. Like garlic, put more in. A little black pepper. Little salt. I'm going to use some Italian seasoning. Some basil. If you have fresh would be great. I always put fresh usually on top of my pizza when it comes out. If I have it. And then oregano. Good thing I'm wearing red today. Okay. I also love fennel. It just adds a great flavor to it. So I just have some fennel seeds that I'm going to crush. If I can get the lid off. There we go. If you don't like fennel, don't put it in. Again, use the spices that you like. And when you're using dry, you want to crush them a little bit. Oh, smells so good. I love dried fennel. Okay. Put that in. So now here in Chicago, they take their pizza very seriously. There's many debates on who makes the best pizza. If you like a thin crust, a deep dish. If you like Pat's, Giordano's, Illuminati's. They take their pizza and their hot dogs very seriously here. Never get into a fight with anybody regarding any of those. Just going to thin it out a little bit more. There we go. I like mine just to be a little thinner. Okay. So I have my toppings. I'm actually using the Eve's veggie pepperoni. It is delicious. It freezes really well too, so if you only use half a pack, throw it in the rest in the freezer. I have red onions, which is one of my favorites, and some mushrooms sliced up. And I'm going to try the Miyoko's, a cultured mozzarella. I heard this was really good, and I'm going to grate this. So let's get our dough, which should be all ready to go. Yes. See how beautiful that is now, guys? So now we're going to punch it down. Oh, it's soft and pillowy. Let me just take it out so you can see it. So I've punched it down. It's soft. It's gorgeous. You make your own pizza. You're not going to order. I'm very lucky, actually, where we have moved to here in Chicago. There's a place next door that actually has a vegan pizza option. So for any reason that I'm lazy, but they use a malted crust, which isn't bad, but I still like making my own. And again, it doesn't take long. Once you get your crust rising, while it's rising, you get the rest of the stuff going. You're good to go. You can even do this on a weeknight. You're just going to press it out, whether you make a square, round. This dough is great for making breadsticks too, or knots, and then just doing some garlic butter on top of it. Vegan butter, of course, but anything like that. You could use the garlic butter with some nutritional yeast and make twists, make them almost like cheesy knots. That would be really good too. I've done that a few times. This dough is an excellent dough that you'll be able to do. And again, once you get used to feeling comfortable using a yeast, you can just actually throw that all into one bowl and mix it up, and then just start adding extra, and you don't even actually proof the yeast. So there we go. So then you're just going to want to build your rim around the outside so that you have your crust. If you want to make your pizza super thin, you can. You want to make it extra thick. I am working on a deep dish recipe, so that's in the works. That should be coming soon. That's a totally different type of pizza, so still working on that. It's a different kind of cooking time and stuff. Trying to do Chicago proud. Okay, so we're all set. So now we're going to put on our pizza sauce. And again, as thick or as thin as you like it. I like my sauce all the way to the crust, to the corners. And again, if you don't have this Miyoko's, this is my first time trying it. I will let you know how it is when it comes out. And after I've tried it, I also get this shredded at actually any of them, but even Aldi has a shredded mozzarella that's pretty good. I usually. And you know what? And if you can't find it, you know what? Pizza's still good without the cheese, to be honest. You just add extra toppings, some nutritional yeast. Again, you don't have to make it fancy-dancy. Just need to make it how you like it. Okay. A couple more on the end here. Okay. So I'm going to add my mushrooms. I think I might do my cheese first. So let's just see. Move that aside. I'm going to try to grate this. See how it grates. Well, it grates lovely. Okay, well, let's just get the rest of the cheese on. You could probably even just slice this cheese. Seems like it would be okay sliced. Give it a try. Yeah, you can slice it really thin too. Okay. All right, enough of that. Enough of the cheese. Let's get on to the rest of our toppings. Mushrooms go on next. I like my onions on top. So now for your pizza, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 425. You want it to cook fast. You want it to brown your crust and everything on top. And now just some onions. And if you don't like the raw onions, you could always wait till it comes out of the oven and use my pickled onion recipe and just lay them on top. That would be really delicious. I've done that before. But these get cooked enough that they don't always bother me. So there we go. There we go. We're going to put it in the oven, 425 for about probably 20 minutes, give or take. And again, everybody's oven is different, so you're going to have to keep an eye on it. When the crust is nice and brown, you're going to want to lift it up, and you want the crust on the bottom to be also brown, and then you know it's done. And obviously the cheese is going to be bubbly and delicious.